Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 425. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale. Brett Murdoch.
Ramped up on anime and Red Bull. Let's do this.
And Brian Majoma.
What's up? What's up?
We got a full house, people. Let's fucking go.
Yo, man, time for a pajama jimmy jam.
I don't know about all that.
Remember House Party 2? That was the deal in that one. It was the pajama jammy jam.
You know, I missed House Party 2. I only like the first one. I saw that movie a million times.
It's garbage.
That's a deep fucking cut.
Yeah, I'm like House Party 2. He said not House Party and House Party 2.
It's House Party 2.
Damn, no, I didn't really make it that far, but I loved the first House Party. I saw that thing a million times. Great movie. Anyway, let's get into it, man. Starfield's coming out.
Oh shit! What?
As a release
Finally.
date. September 6th, people. It is happening. It's funny because everybody's like, oh, it's been delayed to September 6th, but they said it's coming this year. So
No. Am
I wrong?
I want to say that I called it. They said first half of 2023.
Yeah, this ain't the first half.
So when we weren't getting anything, I'm like, dead giveaway. This thing's gonna get delayed.
Yeah,
and it got delayed.
So there you go, man. Starfield. I mean, and then we got a little bit of a new trailer going on. Do we have any strong thoughts on this?
It's a game.
I mean, I don't actually believe this, but I got to be this guy. Like, technically, it's in the first half of the financial year.
Yeah. Also, there's hey, Carlos, it is coming in during the first half of the year, though. A special event for it on June 11th. They're having like a Starfield Direct, so that's coming.
I have a question. Why is it that on the tweet they put Xbox Game Showcase?
Yeah.
But people are saying that this is the Starfield. So is it the same thing?
That's a good question because I saw it as the Starfield Direct or something.
And then Jeff Keighley, slimy ass, said, he's like, oh, stay tuned for the Xbox Summer Games Fest showcase.
Yeah, okay. So Xbox itself tweeted, join us for Starfield Direct. That's the name of it. Hashtag Starfield Direct following the Xbox Game Showcase. So I guess we're getting two shows?
Two.
So Carlos,
that's
your
probably
answer is
smart.
both. It's the both of
them. They got both.
Well,
why not both?
Why not both?
Just to split it up in the sense of like, we're going to tell you all the other information, and then we're going to tell you about Starfield. We don't want you just waiting for Starfield. Pay attention to the first half, too.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's like, listen, eat your fucking vegetables first. Then we'll give you what you want.
You're going to get all the boring stuff out of the way, and then you're going to get your Starfield main course.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, I'm having a field day today.
A Starfield day?
I'm having a Starfield day. Yeah. What I have been saying about the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, and the thing that I always call out.
Oh, that it's basically just the Bethesda showcase at this point?
Well, not only that, but why the hell are they naming the Xbox and Bethesda showcase if Bethesda is part of Xbox and Xbox has a bunch of studios?
Yeah.
Well, now it's just the Xbox Game Showcase.
Oh, so they took the Bethesda. So do you think when, the Activision deal goes through, and yes, people, we will be talking about that for like the majority of the show. You think, yeah, I know, Manny, I know. So Carlos, do you think they're going to call it the Xbox plus Activision showcase for like a little bit,
Why not?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Legitimately, let me ask you, why not?
Oh, no, I'm not against it. I'm just asking a question,
Well, and this is kind of my weirdly indirect way of kind of trying to pose proof while I'm answering. Like, doesn't Microsoft have enough studios that you kind of want to know who the fuck they're talking about? And when they have whole umbrellashers like Bethesda,
we know what to skip.
I mean, kind of, yeah. That's where it's right. Like, when you're just at this point, if you especially if they acquire Activision, they're like Xbox Showcase. I'm like, yeah, but who in Xbox?
Yeah. Look, for me, I just feel like, Xbox can bust out, the cojones and be like, this is our fucking show. We don't have to add a clarification to make people excited. This is the Xbox show.
I mean, does Xbox excite you right now?
Well, neither does Activision.
I mean, no, but Bethesda's got a lot more consumer good graces than the Xbox brand at this point. Xbox brand has they don't get the benefit of the doubt. When you say Bethesda, they're like, oh, I know that company. Bethesda hasn't completely fucked me yet. And I still haven't forgiven Microsoft for when they fucked me last, though it's been years. I don't know. I think it's stupid, but I understand why they're doing it.
You never forget your first.
By the way, I saw this comment on Twitter. I got to read it because I'm not sure what this man's trying to get at. Tony, don't assume gender, right? About the announcement makes sense. Allows Minecraft about the release date specifically. Allows Minecraft, Ghostwire, and Redfall all time to breathe. It does bring up an interesting question now, though. If Starfield, here we go. If Starfield is September, does Xbox drop Hellblade 2 or another big first-party game in the fall, or let Starfield, Forza, and AOE 4 carry the holiday? What's with all these fucking questions?
Yeah, I've been seeing that. I saw a particular person that we know that put like a timeline of Redfall and Hellblade at this date, and then a lot of this is wishful thinking. We might get some stuff. We're not going to get all of it.
But my question is, where's all this coming from?
It's just wishful thinking.
It's assumption.
I can answer that. Well, it's there's a unposed question that's kind of the elephant in the room. That's okay. If this is coming out in September, what are their holiday plans? Are they just going to let this marinate and try and release their is this their big holiday game that they're just kind of releasing early, or is there more in line to kind of fill that out? Because it does come in a weird, it's granted stuff doesn't usually come out in summer, but September's a bit of a weird place for it. So I understand why people would think that.
It is okay.
Well,
okay,
November. No,
this might be very, very cynical of me to say, but I was like, isn't this their holiday game? I mean, what else do they have?
Well,
yeah.
As you said, you brought up, I thought Redfall was coming before this. Like, I thought we kind of knew when Redfall was coming.
Did that
Redfall's coming on it's coming on April? It was first half of this year for
April.
sure.
Yeah, that's fucking next month.
Yeah. So we know Redfall's coming, so that's why you're seeing the Redfall on the timeline.
That's true. Yeah. Those people went to an event this week.
So they're
May, my bad.
Here's the problem, though. Like, you can't project a pattern with 2 points of data. You need a minimum of 3, and you guys are kind of pulling this third one straight out of your ass. You're like, okay, so here's point 1 that's Redfall, here's point 2 that's Starfield, so point 3 ? And we've got ourselves a trajectory. No, that's not how it works, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
so, okay, I was just trying to understand where's all this coming from. But I guess that's what it is. It's like, if this game's coming out in September, which is not the holidays, then what is going to fill the holiday? That's what they're asking, right, Brett? Just making sure.
I think that's what led them to pose along this, and then they fanboyed out and went too far into the forest.
Yeah.
Shout out to
AOE 4. What the fuck is that?
No clue.
I think that's Age of Empires.
Is that a Microsoft game?
Technically speaking, I think so now.
Yeah. Call of Duty on Game Pass fills the holiday. Who's it? Apollo Neox said that first.
Well, I mean that makes sense if they're expecting Activision deal to go through, that will be their big blockbuster.
Yeah.
Of the holiday season.
Yeah, he's right.
But is Adam, our resident Call of Duty expert, isn't there no Call of Duty this year, or was that last year? I always forget.
They said that they're releasing Modern Warfare 2 expansion. So it was supposed to just be some DLC, but then according to the developers, it's grown much larger than just a DLC. So they're like, we're going to make its own thing. So it's supposed to be an expansion that still requires Modern Warfare 2, and it's going to be at a $70 price point. So
damn,
that's that's coming. Will be. And and then
what's up, Adam? What happened? What did they do to you?
it's what they didn't do. It's just.
Yo, you sound mad disappointed right now.
No, hold on. Adam, I don't know if we've actually asked this directly of you. Like, having gone through all the fucking bullshit that you have with Call of Duty, how do you feel about them having a new owner? Like, would you be excited for Microsoft to pick them up, or are you afraid that's going to kind of...
That's a layup for Adam.
That's a layup. You already know the answers to this one.
But it's a layup, but it's also... it's time for a new direction. They need to figure something out. The way Activision is running these studios ragged, that's why we see all these issues with the servers and the games and the modes and all this shit crashing and missing. Is they're juggling too much at once. I brought this up before, how we still have like 3 or 4 Call of Duty back that the servers are still running, and everything feels half-assed. And that's what we're seeing now, where everyone's asking for multiplayer, and they're like, we're gonna start focusing on Warzone. It's like, yeah, but that's the free shit. Why did we pay $70 if we're not getting any new content, no new maps or anything? And they're like, is that what you want? We'll think about that. Oh, we got some. Look, we found this map over here. Yeah. And then they show it off today. They were like, take a look. And there's a spa that you run around, and there's this little pool area.
Remember Burger Town?
Right. I wish I have the shirt, but they didn't bring it back. But it's just like an afterthought, and it's sad. So I'm still not excited on the direction. And of course, now with all the stuff that came out regarding Tencent and how they own some of Call of Duty Mobile, and that it was never really an Activision game, it's like, what? So then they're closing that. If this deal goes through, they're going to be closing that because they're going to be pushing Warzone Mobile. And that's something that they've already advertised. So I have a feeling that regardless of the Microsoft acquisition, this was going to happen, and then that puts a sour taste in everyone's mouth because no one really knew. I wasn't big into the Call of Duty Mobile, but I know a lot of people were. They made tons of money. Remember, we saw those reports. It was bringing in buco bucks. It wasn't just the console game; it was at mobile. And then it's like, oh, surprise! This is really partially owned by Tencent and not really Activision. I was working with this. It's just the license. So we're going to scrap that. And all these people are pissed now because they invested a lot of money getting different skins and weapons and all those bundles and stuff. And it's all going to go down the tube. So I'm looking forward to just a new direction. And at this point, it didn't even matter if it was Microsoft. If there was anybody with deep pockets that can make a change. And this will be great for the developers because then they can move around and hopefully do the office place shuffle. And it's like, all right, I always want to work on Fallout. I'm pretty good with it. It's like, okay, anybody on Fallout team, anybody over there want to work on a Call of Duty? We got a shitload of them now. Me over here, Jimmy. All right, Jimmy, off you go. And then you get some fresh blood because that was the other issue. Remember, they had a lot of scandals.
Yo, Infinity War, you want some of our 343 guys? Now we good.
It's like, no, we don't need any fuck ups. We got enough problems. It's like, oh, okay, we got it. All right, was that a joke? No, not a joke. And it's like, okay, so they needed this. They need something to happen, and I'm sure we'll talk about all the craziness that came out. But I think this will be good for the industry. We just see it everywhere, and hopefully we'll see some fresh blood on these projects and try to, as sad as it sounds, but it just close down shop on some of the older ones, so that way you can get teams off of those servers to focus on just developing new games. And the Call of Duty franchise, that's never going to die. They're going to keep running into trying to make more games and bring more money. It's all about the money.
Yeah, but going back to Starfield, so yeah, I just for whatever reason I just thought that was going to be the holiday game. Like that game will be big enough to just carry Xbox through the holiday. But maybe that's
in September. It could.
It could.
But that's a good point because last year they announced it in November, and I think they've released games in November in the past. So it's like September is 2 months before November. So it's like, why didn't they just do November?
When doesn't the new Assassin's Creed come out in that traditional window now? The new one, Mirage, isn't that coming?
That was delayed too, wasn't it?
No, well, for the holidays, still coming this year though.
Yeah, no, because remember it was supposed to come out last year, I believe.
Yeah, but they did that. They did that 20th anniversary, whatever stupid anniversary show. Remember, and that's their big hype. that was the next one in the line, man. It's going to be all about assassinations, smaller location.
Yeah, but I don't think those games are like they have the same audience generally, you know.
And I'm not seeing a concrete release date on Assassin's Creed, only 2023.
But then again, you know, Starfield may not be concrete either. We had a date before, remember?
Yeah. And I mean, these days, everything's getting delayed.
Yeah, that shit don't count. The game could go gold. You don't have to trust that shit. you know? It's crazy right now, man.
Everybody's lying to it.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on Starfield's release date?
I got one. I'm just kind of kicking around the back of my mind. I'm wondering if they're releasing it so early so that it has time to kind of get into everybody's brain, right? Like, you release it in November, sure, but that doesn't really give it a lot of time to blow up before holidays. If you release in September, the game could blow up, and then that could push a holiday rush of Xboxes.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of where I'm getting at. Like, I think this game, if it's as good as people think it is, it's going to have legs, you know?
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I do like the one where Call of Duty has been taken into effect, since Call of Duty always releases in November, and Microsoft pretty much says, "Oh, well, we're going to be the Call of Duty people now."
Yeah.
By the time it comes out, so we don't want to compete against each other.
True. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, especially if the deal is finalized by then, which I believe it will be. It's in June, right? That's when it finally happens.
Well, we should get all the final verdicts in April.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll really set the mood, and we'll see where everyone stands. CMA and TC.
Get ready, man.
And the Country Music Awards.
Right, exactly.
All right, you know what? Since we've been talking around it, let's get into it, man. More drama between Sony and Microsoft over Call of Duty. Let's just be real here. It's about Call of Duty. So right now, the new thing is that Sony is worried that Microsoft is going to sabotage Call of Duty on PlayStation to make the game so inferior on that console that people will only want to play it on Xbox. That's what Sony believes, right? And the other interesting thing is Jim Ryan flat out said, I don't want to accept this deal. I just want this merger to not happen. He flat out said that. It's
that came from the executive of Activision, the CEO of Activision. She tweeted that. She was like, that's what he told me. And she said the date.
Yeah. Like he said, he's basically like, you know, if we can't get what we want, nobody should get it, nothing. It's like, damn, dude, how petty can you be? You know,
I'm wondering how this is like. So they're not going to sign a deal with Microsoft before the acquisition, right? And that, you know, just because that would tank their case.
Microsoft, hold on, Brett, just to set the scene here. Microsoft offered Sony, hey, you can put this game on PlayStation Plus day one if you want. Sony said no.
And that's what I'm saying. Sony didn't take any of the deals on the table. So what happens the day after this merger goes through? Right? Like, do you think Sony still gets offered that contract? Or do you think they'll be like, okay, we'll take that deal now? And Microsoft will be like, oh, no.
No. Microsoft can't do that. But I could see if the way this dude is acting so fucking uptight about this, saying, you know what, we don't even want Call of Duty. We don't want any of your games. And it's like shit, because the one thing that CEO lady from Activision, when she tweeted out, she was like, this deal is better than any deal Activision that we would ever offer to them.
Yeah.
And they're turning it down. And if you're willing to do this, then if it doesn't go through, I'm sure their deal is going to be far worse.
Yeah,
next time they hit that table.
No, you're right about that. And again, I want to read Jim Ryan's exact words here. I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger.
Damn.
And she didn't say that to Microsoft. She said that to Activision.
Yeah.
She said that to Activision. That's the crazy part. So it's like when people are like, damn, he really hates Microsoft. It's like, I don't know. Maybe he feels like this is like a backstab or something to Activision.
No, he's just afraid that they're going to lose Call of Duty. That's what
well, we know that's bullshit. We know it's bullshit because Minecraft and Fallout, they're all on there. You never hear some shit going on with them. Yeah, they may have bugs, but they have bugs on all the platforms. And now, what is that going to be an issue? Is he going to start bitching every time that there's some kind of, the servers are down and Call of Duty? You see what they did? It's like, yeah, but they're down on PC. That's not the point. That's not the point. It is a point. Stop bitching. It's all about making money. And I just can't, even if we had no gaming knowledge, if we were not part of this and didn't give a shit, if someone was to present all this information on the table and like, well, what do you think is going to happen? He was like, putting billions of dollars to get this deal. They've already made these other deals with these other publishers. I think they want to make money. I think that's what Microsoft wants to do. They want to make money. It doesn't make any sense to then kill, especially if they have the install base that they do, Sony, to just cut them off. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does make sense in one scenario, and I think I see what Jim Ryan is trying to do, or what he wanted. He wanted Activision Blizzard to fail. He wanted the stock to crash and investors to completely lose confidence, and them to get to the lowest point possible, where either A, they would auction off their IPs, right, or break apart, right? Activision Blizzard separate. Break apart, you auction off one part of the company or another, and then Sony comes in and sweeps up everything at a low price, right? Or they offer themselves at such a low bargaining position that Sony could afford it and then acquire them. That may be what he was hoping for. And then Microsoft came in and it's like, they just put their dick on the table and said, "Now, just buy the whole fucking thing right now." And so he's probably pissed off, and that's why he's trying to destroy the merger, because that ends all his plans. Like, Microsoft will now control all those IPs, and he'll have to just keep making contracts. He probably didn't want that. He probably wanted them to fail.
So, Chris, here's a question for you. This is what I was thinking. Do you think his job is on the line? You think if this deal goes through, which most likely will, but if it does, you think he's out?
He's fighting this tooth and nail. It's possible. It's possible the board is like, hey,
it's like, this is crazy.
Yeah, because it's making Sony look, or PlayStation look bad.
Yes.
Here's where I'm coming at it from. Like, of all of the Doctor Strange universes, this was not the one to go down, because there is a very clear path from here to Call of Duty not only not being on your platform, but also you being the bad guy in there. Like, that's a double, man. Like, Microsoft would have to deal with the fallout of basically looking like the bad guy in the public image while they're trying to choke off Sony if they went down this road. Now, I don't think Microsoft ever planned that, but somehow Jim Ryan has brought us into this reality, this world here, where that shit may not only happen, but Jim Ryan may be the bad guy. Sony fans may have to take a long, hard look at it and be like, they just pushed Call of Duty off the system, man.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, he already looks like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to ponies, he'll never be the bad guy, right? The company can do no wrong. But everyone else who's just enjoying games or enjoying Call of Duty, it's like, what the fuck is this guy doing, right? He just makes himself look worse and worse, and he's putting Sony in a bad position. But like Adam said, and I think Adam has a good point, he's fighting like his job depends on it.
Yeah.
Like his future fucking depends on this deal not happening.
And if anything, this could help Sony. All right, so let's say it doesn't happen, the merger happens, he leaves, then Sony can come out and say, yeah, we parted ways. A lot of his tactics was of his own. We're here to work a new deal with Microsoft, and then, continue in the business of gaming. And just wiping under the rug. They were like, whatever. It was all him. It wasn't us.
It was
if I were Microsoft,
yeah, exactly.
If I were Microsoft, that deal would be gone. I don't give a shit anymore.
No, that's
here's the deal. Jim Ryan's the bad guy. Like, it's off the table. If I'm Microsoft, we offered you a 10-year deal. You decided to be a dick about it. You're the bad guy.
12-year deal now. That was the latest one the one that he was the president of was carrying around in his wallet. It was a 12-year, 2-year extension. Yeah.
Well, and that's the irony of everything. The reason why Jim Ryan is fighting this tooth and nail is because Microsoft has the ability to do all of the things that you guys are mentioning. And that's why I can't really fault him, because
not if he took the 12-year deal.
Yeah.
As we heard, that's a better deal than Activision.
I would say stay in Microsoft and Sony.
I would say right now take the deal, not before though, because all of the fighting that Sony has been doing has helped them in negotiating, because Microsoft is catering a little bit to what Sony's asking, because they offered a 10-year deal. Now they're offering a 12-year deal. What if they say, okay, let's do a 15-year deal and let's end this? I think so. I think Microsoft might consider it. But once Microsoft gets all of the leverage and they're like, oh, FTC is going to get the green light. Oh, CMA is going to get the green light. Oh, it's fucking on. We're doing shit our way. We don't give a fuck what Sony thinks. And that's why Jim Ryan is that's what he fears. That's what everyone at Sony fears, because they're playing with the biggest brand in console gaming right now. That's Call of Duty. It's like Michael Jordan going to the other team. It's like, yeah, we'll let Mike play with you a couple of times.
If they really cared so much, and clearly he doesn't, Jim Ryan doesn't from that statement, but if they did care, work out some other deal. You have other things. Like I said, the Spider-Man doesn't have to be the new Spider-Man. Bring the old ones. Like, all right, we'll put a big logo saying a Sony game, blah, 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 but we'll bring this over to Xbox and we'll work out something. Play nice. That's it. There's enough people out there in the community and space that you can work together. We need competition, though. We can't have just one dominant console.
Here's the problem with that, Adam, is I think it's become pretty clear that, and regardless of whether or not this is your opinion, Sony values scarcity. They value exclusivity. It is their firm belief that just the idea of their game being on another console makes it inherently worth less. And that's one school of thought. Not mine personally, but I guess it's a fairly valid school of thought. But
I thought that for a long time until they started popping up on PC. And I was like, oh, well, they're willing to still get them off the platform. Even though they're older. They're older, much older. But still, I never thought that would happen. I really never thought. I mean, we don't see Nintendo doing it. I can't play Mario. I mean, yeah, I could. I mean, I don't see Mario on Steam. I was like, oh shit, that'll be crazy. And they could do it. Throw some of their older ones on there exclusively, but they don't do it.
Yeah, well, they throw the older ones on there specifically because they view them as already having devalued. The same way they'll throw them on their subscription service when they view them as having devalued. Like that's them. That's not me. That's not interpretation. That's what they've said.
Yeah.
The reason they said they'd never do day one releases is because putting it on that kind of thing inherently devalues it somehow.
You see, so if they throw it at that point, then go ahead, throw these old ones on Xbox, not on Game Pass. Make people pay $70. That audience, I think they'd do it. I think a large majority of people probably, even if they own a PlayStation, they'll double dip for it just to have it on another platform.
Yeah, this shit.
But yeah,
go ahead.
Sony, take our advice. Take the freaking deal right now, while you still have some leverage.
Deal, man.
Things aren't going to look good.
Because this is what I was you got me thinking now, Brett, with the whole thing. Because we know that Microsoft gave that 10-year deal to Nintendo, but I don't know if they got anything on the other side. I doubt it. They didn't say anything about like any games from Nintendo's catalog coming over. So. It's like a one-way thing. It's like, hey, you want to take? Yeah, sure. Put it. We get? No, you can't. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
be that way.
Shit is crazy. Yeah, again, they're offering them a deal, and Sony's like, nope.
And that hurts them. Yeah. Come on, I mean that has to hurt them. To anybody who, even if you don't, like I said, if you don't know, then it doesn't matter. If you see this, like, well, they are extending an olive branch that they extended to others. Not just like a half-assed one. Everyone seems to be getting this, and you're turning it down for what reason? Out of spite? I mean, why are you doing this? What? You really?
it has to be, as Tony said. Jim Ryan's gonna be long. Like everybody in that boardroom is probably gonna be long gone in 12 years.
Yeah, that's right. Man, Jim Ryan, man, fucking it up.
Yeah.
All right. Man. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Manny.
What? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just y'all said it all.
Just meme Jim Ryan. Put him on Picard's head in First Contact when he gets pissed off and he smashes all the ships. Replace the ships with Call of Duty.
I was just gonna stick his head on Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, you could do that too.
You know the famous shot is her going, like yelling at some person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
No, because Carlos said take the deal, Sony. So I imagine Chick say take the deal, Jim. No, and then he smashes the case.
Well, one thing is for sure,
He
though.
smashes his case of PlayStation.
Yeah, he smashes all the
So
old
what Carlos
PlayStation.
said that about how this whole thing started prolonging the process, and maybe Sony's getting a little better deal out of this. I think if anything, it's all the other ones. It is the Nintendo. It's definitely the GeForce Now. I think that if Sony didn't put up this fight, that those deals wouldn't have happened. They definitely would have left it on Steam because that's PC world. But I don't see them reaching out to Nintendo with a 10-year deal. At least they may say, "Well, we'll put some games on whenever we can." No guarantees.
The Nintendo and GeForce, and this is my opinion, I think it's just a big ass virtue signal about, look, you see, we're spreading the wealth.
Of course.
That's them doing all that. And
yeah, it's funny because Sony accused Microsoft of that, but it's like, yeah, that's exactly what Microsoft is doing.
Oh,
you know? They're making these deals so they don't look like the bad guy,
I don't even know if it's that disingenuous. I think you could also look at it as they're making these deals in concession. Like, they're willing to take these deals for this to go through. They're willing to not even try and compete for 12 years, just to make this thing happen. Like, I don't think they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. I don't think anybody thinks that. I think it's one of those, this is what we're willing to do to make this happen, and we're willing to do it on good faith. The same way, go ahead.
Just real quick, Brett, the part that makes me think this is this deal has been not approved. It has been agreed on between Activision and Microsoft for over a year now. And then the Nintendo news came out, a couple of weeks ago? It just seems kind of...
Well, here's to link on that. Phil was asked that in that Xbox On interview about this whole process. And he said the plan was always to have it on all these services. But they didn't really push for didn't feel that there was a need to put dates, like years planned on it, until this became a concern from Sony.
Yeah,
and that's what pushed them to say, all right, fine, 10 years, we're throwing everyone. But they were just planning on just dumping it when they could. They didn't want to set a time.
Yeah, and I was going to say something along those lines. Like, Gabe Newell's reaction to this whole thing was, nah, there's no need. Like, I don't think people were worried about this happening other than Sony. And I genuinely, just from that reaction, I think, as Adam has said, like, they were going to try and reach for the widest audience as possible. Like, why not dip into Sony's audience to help fund your Microsoft first-party games?
Oh yeah, but what they wanted is Game Pass. They want Game Pass to be on the PlayStation and on the Switch.
Oh, I know.
That's the Trojan horse.
No, it's an insidious plan that I'll be very curious to see, if it starts getting a foothold. Because that's just a big dick move. Like, well, you just put our gaming service on your system, and then you can play all the games you want.
So this brings up a question here. If this is how they would do it, all right. So we know, let's say for Nintendo, we know they're going to put their games on there. Okay. But is it just to buy, or let's say you download the game and then just like on PC, you get that prompt to sign in with your Microsoft account. And if you do have Game Pass, will it just play? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to buy all this other stuff.
You're safe.
I guarantee you the next, at least the next PlayStation will specifically have a way to block you from being able to play your Game Pass through its browser, and they're not going to accommodate that shit at all.
If you can find that in a browser.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't allow you internet access outside of the little box they keep you in for that exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about, which is also related to this, is that apparently Microsoft is taking out ads in the UK now. Let me read this real quick. Microsoft has placed a full-page ad in 2 newspapers in the UK today for its Activision Blizzard deal. And it says, Call of Duty for 150 million more players, argues Microsoft as it pushes for its deal to be approved by UK regulators. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Like that happening, like a game company doing that.
Put the pressure, I guess.
Oh yeah, plenty of people have taken out ads in newspapers and stuff to do that.
Like which
Vince
ones?
McMahon did it.
Yeah, no, I
I
specifically said video games.
No, not in video games. But
That's what I'm saying.
That is a tactic that has been used in business for years, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying I've never seen that done in video games before. like
Same
with
shit.
with a business deal. It's like I've never heard that before. You know, it's very, very interesting.
Listen,
I got a conspiracy theory about all this.
Okay, wait, let's hear it.
I mean, it kind of based off like, we've been saying it for years. Got to have something, right? And like that's as true now as it has been when we first started saying it. So here's the deal: like, there is stuff that's been in development. There is stuff that's coming forward, and I'm starting to see Microsoft be a little bit more aggressive in the way that they're handling things. They're starting to advertise more. They're starting to. It seems like the effort has begun, which really kind of has me starting to ask in my head, does that mean that the content is following up, right? Because as a brand, Microsoft finally seems to be kind of lurching awake. That's the best way I could describe it. Like, they've been kind of trying to passively do stuff and subsist, but it just seems like they're starting to make moves. And I wonder
if it's Phil.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is, because it's since he's taken the helm, we've seen all these changes. So this is his goal. This is it. We'll see if it works out. Because think about it. When it comes down to all these interviews all over the place, all these different magazines, it's him. He's popping up. He's like acting like Jay Adler. Remember him? He's filling that role.
Okay,
they're
but
not
then
sending Major Nelson out there. He's doing.
Here's my question then to you, Adam. Like, do you think there's content on the way finally? Then, in the sense that, do you think his mouth is writing checks his ass can't cash, or do you think that there's content behind this bluster?
Yeah. I mean, just from the amount of studios that we know they own, all of them have to be working on some kind of something. Well, they have to have some. He said it, but they have to be working on it. They have to be working on something. You don't buy all these studios and say, all right, everybody stand by, we'll figure something out. No. A lot of these studios he picked up, he had said it before, because they were like, oh, well, what's this game working? This studio working? It's like, oh, well, they have stuff that they presented to us. And we're like, wow, we would love that game. And not only that, we love this studio. And they pick them up. It's like, okay, but we're waiting for them. So I'm sure when it happens, it's just going to be an influx, at least for a year with all the games. Because think about it, these games, a lot of stuff that they talked about has been pushed back multiple years, not just 1 year. Now, look, we're seeing over 2 years for some of these studios that we thought we were going to get a game this year. Now we're not. That Hellblade 2, we still don't know when that's going to come. But that was a big deal when they bought the studio, 2-3 years back?
That's crazy. Well, you know what's the craziest thing? When Ninja Theory got bought out, we thought, oh, this is a studio that can give Microsoft consistent AA experiences like every year. It's like, oh, the Ninja Theory game this year, maybe it skips 1 year, but then they're releasing one after that. They released one game?
Isn't that Wulong? Isn't that them?
No, that's someone else.
Ninja Theory. Is that Ninja?
No, Ninja Theory.
Something Ninja. I saw Ninja. It booted up.
Team Ninja.
Team Ninja. That's
Team
Ninja Gaiden guys.
Not them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I rage quit. I knew there was a reason. That fucking game. Holy shit.
Ninja Theory released Bleeding Edge. They're the ones that released Bleeding Edge, I think.
The failure of a multiplayer game.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like early on when they got bought out. I think they were working on it before.
It wasn't a Bleeding Edge game.
But yeah, I mean, it's
We Happy Few, that studio, that was the other one.
They bought them. I think they bought them after We Happy Few released.
Because that one.
No, they bought it as soon as they released. Like literally in the time that they released, they bought them. Like like really or like really close to when they launched it. So.
Yeah. So we're still waiting. We're still waiting on obviously the Bethesda mainline games. Starfield hopefully comes out this year. We have Ninja Theory. Whenever the hell Hellblade 2 is going to come out, we don't know. They showed it one E3 or one showcase like 2 or 3 years ago, and we haven't heard anything since. We still the Initiative and Fable. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. 343's in shambles. Coalition's probably going to release a Gears game within the next 3 years.
Boys, the Coalition, they're releasing some games.
Yo, man, the
Coalition with the Coalition.
Coalition with a key. Forza. We always get a Forza of some kind almost every year. What else do they have? Double Fine. I don't know what they're working on, but I can't see them. I don't see them releasing a game anytime soon. because they released Psychonauts 2 like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't
I mean,
know.
look, I just put it in the chat, that link. That's all the studios they own. It's ridiculous. Looking at this list is like, what?
Yeah, but
Rare,
where the games at though?
That's what I'm saying. They can't all be twiddling their thumbs in the back
Obsidian,
room. Like,
Obsidian showed that one RPG looking game, that fantasy game. We don't know what the hell happened with that.
They're working on Outer Worlds 2 as well.
They're working on Outer Worlds also.
Alpha Dog.
Rare did just release Grounded. And I gotta say, whether or not that game is your jam,
Grounded is not a. Oh wait, Rare. Sorry, I thought you meant the point. Sorry.
Whether or not that game is for you, like it got a really good treatment in terms of an influx of talent and money. Like that game is polished. It's good. It's stable. It does what it set out to do really well. And that kind of gives me hope for some of these other studios like Obsidian. So I'm hoping Outer Worlds 2 better than Outer Worlds 1 because you can literally just go over and talk to the Bethesda guys.
Oh, this is nice. So you can click on any one of these and it'll take you directly to their site so you can see what they're working on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I just clicked on it. Let's see. What the fuck do you do?
A huge chunk of these are Bethesda ones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That was a big deal when they bought them.
Well, that's why it's the plus Bethesda showcase.
Exactly. Because before, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure the people that work on the site already have like the layout for the Activision Blizzard studios.
Oh yeah, it's in the back. It's waiting with a date. It's like all we have to do is click deploy. That's it.
Deploy it.
That's it. We're ready. We're ready. Let me
There's
see.
Xbox Game Studios Publishing. Which one's that one? Is it just? No, I think that's just a generic name. Describe it.
That's the first one. That's the one that was doing that shit just they go under all of them because I think I just keep throwing in my head except so Viva Pinata was under that studio, but that was the same studio that Phil Spencer was in charge of. Remember, he came from that studio.
Viva Pinata was Rare.
No, I know, but the under the Microsoft Studios, Xbox Game Studios, whatever that's where Phil came from, because he was a developer.
By the way, I don't know. Did we talk about Studio Moon and how they said that the next game is make or break for them?
No, I didn't hear that. What? I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the timeline. I don't remember when it was. I'm like, why can't Microsoft just buy them out?
I was going to say somebody's aiming to get acquired.
Yeah, right.
They're fucking good, man.
I heard that other studio shut down. That one Forspoken studio closed up shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I never wish ill will on. Well, that's not true. I do all the time, but they earned it.
That was quick.
That hot dumpster fire.
Talk about a make or break. That was a make or break.
Not just that. There's this video going around of a guy. He's in a landfill, and the steel books are just piled up in the landfill.
Oh shit!
Damn!
They just threw them out.
That was quick. Put on eBay. Right. You can still make a few bucks. Damn.
Yeah, this was in February when.
So is Forspoken the new ET game?
Yeah, that's a joke now.
Oh really? Man, I could believe that game was fucking awful. Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about any of this Microsoft stuff? You know, we're gonna have to talk about it during this weekend and next weekend.
Oh yeah.
Up until it happens.
The deal.
I already saw. We already got a bunch of questions about this for the Sunday show, so get ready for that. All right. Let's move on here to some other news. Speaking about delays. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed due to fan backlash.
That's good. We should see this as a good thing, though, right? We should see this as a good thing.
We should.
This is a win.
They could fix this. Fix it.
They said due to fan backlash? Is that what they said?
Yeah, because nobody liked it. Did you see the backlash to that shit?
Yeah.
As soon as people saw that it was basically like another Avengers, like, what the fuck is this shit? You know?
Well, you notice on this time around, in the promotion for this time around, they noticed that they were making a point to say that it was connected to the Arkham universe when they said originally it wasn't.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. So it's kind of interesting because they still say they're not going to change the core game, which is still this like.
Well, they can at this point.
They can if possible. So you're still going to get this like online shooter basically. You know.
Well, maybe
they could change some of the mechanics, the gameplay mechanics. Maybe they could do that.
So it's
also not microtransaction you to death.
Maybe, yeah, but it is still going to be a live service game no matter.
Listen,
what.
they had 2 live service games. They turned both of their Batman franchise into 2 live service games. What was the fucking point? If the other Gotham game was supposed to be their, not the Gotham game, but the was it whatever, the one with Robin and Batgirl and all, that one
Gotham
was
Knights.
the online service.
Yeah,
Gotham Knights. And then this one is the same shit. So what the fuck is the difference?
Yeah, because again, everybody wants that Fortnite money,
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that, like, haven't you guys learned that you don't turn these fucking things into Fortnite because comics and stuff like that doesn't work that way? They're very story based.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna have a bunch of bullshit arenas, right? And then they're gonna have a boss, and then you're gonna have some cinematics to say that there's a plot. Come on, guys. Especially after you release that crazy ass Harry Potter game, which is literally the game that every single Harry Potter person out of whatever wanted.
I'm telling you,
literally
just bring back
living in
DC
the world of
universe.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, so
Just bring back DC Universe, goddamn it!
isn't it still around?
It's dude.
Universe Online?
It's around.
It needs another version. Like that shit is old as fuck at this point. But like they did a great job on it. The locomotion mechanics were dope as fuck. It looked good. That was one of the few games that they're like, oh, wait a minute. People want to fight alongside the superheroes. They don't necessarily always want to be Batman, and not everybody can be Batman. So, crazy idea. Well, let's make your own character. Because no kid ever dreamed of making their own superhero. Never. So it was a wild idea.
Yeah, but I mean that game was fairly successful for a while.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah, it was a big
they're looking for the next Fortnite. I'm like, you can't look back when y'all toe dipped into the MMO genre and be like, seems like it worked pretty well. Like,
I'm sure the executives over there go, wait, we had one of those?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Like they forgot who that budget was even going to, and somewhere in the bowels of the company. Like they're just worked down. They're completely cut off.
There's this money that's coming from this direction that we don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the guy in Office Space. Like they just forgot to fire that team, so they've just been hanging out, making updates. But yes, we need another one, dude. Like, all right, here's an idea: if you want to launch live service games, right? Maybe upgrade the basic MMO architecture that has been fucking riding us for the last 15 goddamn years. I swear to God, the Western audience is the only one that doesn't understand how MMOs work. Like, there's a new big MMO every fucking 2 years in the East. But here, nah, we still play World of Warcraft, son.
Yeah,
y'all think of making a World of Warcraft 2 or some shit like that ever? I don't know. Maybe, just maybe. Or we just gonna all play GTA 5 for fucking ever.
Man.
By the way, I just checked now. They just today they announced that they're having like a special Mr. Mixlix like event happening in DC.
Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They did everything right with that game. Like, for those of you who didn't play it, you get to make your own hero, and you get to choose like super speed, where you like literally run up walls. You can fly with literally the best goddamn flying mechanics I've ever played in any video game ever. This is the Spider-Man of flying, right? It actually fucking worked. You could actually have aerial fights, like in the comics. I don't know how, and I'm convinced nobody will ever do it that well again. Or you could have a fucking Batman, grapple hook, but nobody fucking bothered with that because it's fucking lame.
By the way, I could tell who the comic book readers are here. The guys who reacted to me talk about Mr. Mixia Spittlelake were like, "What the fuck is that?" The other guys were quiet. You know who I'm talking about.
Good luck pronouncing that name.
Yeah. Like, come on now. Okay, so yeah, the game's still being updated with content. So there you go.
Still want a new one.
Yeah, but do you need a new one at this point? I don't know.
Or at least it needs a major graphic overhaul. Like the core system's actually really good. It's an MMO kind of built for controllers, and so you get to pick all these powers out of the power tree, share all you want. You can only assign 5 of them at a time, which really actually makes for a lot of people doing different stuff. Choose your locomotion, you get to choose your power, you get to choose 5 powers out of your power set. It's pretty cool. It needs an overhaul though. Then I'll come back, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, Suicide Squad, not interested. Don't care. Like, as soon as they showed that it was a live service game, I'm like, nope, I'm good. And a lot of people thought the same, Go ahead.
But they think they're chasing Fortnite money. You're chasing Avengers money. The negative return.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna be the next Avengers. It's like, hey, you saw what Guardians of the Galaxy did? Do that. Like, just do that, and you'll be good. But of course, that game bombed because of the stink of Avengers.
Yeah.
So and the executives are just going to look at the money. It's like, oh, this game didn't sell, but this, it's fucking dumbasses, man.
I don't understand how they haven't figured out the basic idea of causality yet.
No, they don't think about that, and they only think about like the best case scenario. Oh, Fortnite did this well. Well, let's go with that. It's like, what about the games that failed, dude? You know.
Okay, let's look back at the games that really succeeded. Are you going to look at what went on right before those games succeeded to garner that goodwill? No, not at all.
It's insane. But yeah, don't care about that game. Anybody here feel different about that?
That game is hot garbage.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, they're all the same character, basically. They're just flying around with guns. It's stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys have a better game that's like 14 years old. Like, how much money did you waste on this monstrosity when you could have gone towards something that's proven that fans actually fucking liked?
Yeah. Dumbasses.
But no, we had to watch another game fail, and then it took the internet unanimously yelling at us for us to go, you know what, maybe this isn't the best idea.
Yeah, but again, I don't know what they could change. Like, it's still going to be a live service game at the end of the day. And that's the problem people have.
The best you can hope for is to, instead of portioning out the content, you just throw all the content that you meant to lock behind walls out there at the beginning, give up on it being a live service game, and just hope that it succeeds as an online game, and move the fuck on.
But if the game succeeds, then they will dole out content,
Yeah, they'll build out more content at that point, but like, here's the thing. If the game already has so little fun in it and everybody's so hesitant for it, like, you can't lock all the fun behind paywall. You're going to have to give some of that shit away.
Yeah. I don't know. Disappointing.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on here. All right. This one's interesting. Discord voice chat is coming to PlayStation 5. Actually, probably already available now during an update. Manny, you want to tell us a little bit about this since you brought it to my attention?
Well, I don't know. It's not really I cared about, but anyway, I would. The only reason why I even spend more time on Discord is because now, because of work situations. But yeah, Discord, it has now integration. So now if you have little groupings and stuff like that, you can go together and do it on there. So good stuff. All you need to do is just attach your PlayStation account, and the other thing that they added on there is the ability to do that not on the website. You can actually do it off of you can actually do it on your console.
Is that why when I logged on it asked me if I wanted to link my PlayStation account?
Yeah. So you can manage that through all the different things. You can do it through Discord, or you can do it on PlayStation and all that other stuff. But there was also like a big update to PlayStation 5 this recently. So
yeah, let's
you got a
talk
bunch
about
of
that.
new features.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming. Okay, here we go. PS5 gets some improvements to its 1440p mode. I guess that's 1440p mode now. That's good. People were asking about that at the beginning.
It
Yeah.
depends on the game if the game supports it.
Sony has. I'm reading this from The Verge. Sony says 1440p has been expanded with variable refresh rate, enabled for 1440p to add smoother visual performance. Okay, that's cool. Sony is improving its voice command support with this new update. PS5 owners in the US and UK can now say, "Hey, PlayStation, capture that" to save a video clip of their gameplay.
Oh, thank God.
Kind of like Google.
I can't say her name.
Yeah,
The Amazon when she's gonna start. You know. By the way, if you get Amazon A, don't watch YouTube videos learning about it because it'll
self-trigger.
Yeah. It happened.
Did you hear about the commercial that was ordering dollhouses?
What?
There was a commercial that said, "Hey, Amazon broad, like buy this dollhouse," and it was like a thing. It was like a little commercial about like a guy like bonding with his daughter over this like fancy ass expensive wooden dollhouse. And every time the commercial cued, it would start placing orders from the Amazon broad that picked it up.
Now that's weird then, because I've had it before, try to order, and it would confirm. It'll ask, like, so you want me to order something, and I'm like, no. So people, they must have been skipping that part.
Can't you disable it or something?
Or it said yeah at just the right time.
Maybe, but
it could have been, dialogue between the son, who knows? I just found it hilarious that there was like thousands of dollhouse orders made.
Oh my God! Just because of this stupid commercial.
Yeah, I think the company ended up going
to the shopping cart.
They went bankrupt or something.
No, I think they went back and started like reaching out and confirming orders because it was just A, ridiculous and impossible, and B, like you go from like 1 or 2 dollhouses a week to like 400. You got to be like,
Yeah, right.
I know we just did a commercial, but it can't be that successful, can it?
That is hilarious. I wonder if they did that shit on purpose.
I wondered that myself.
Probably did.
Yeah. So let's run through this stuff. What new PlayStation features? Okay. So yeah, Discord. Join a Discord voice chat on your PS5 console. Start or request a share screen from your friend's profile. Interesting. You can now send a share screen request or start sharing your screen with a friend directly from their profile. Simply select the share screen icon on your friend's profile to start a new session. Okay, that's cool. Do y'all have what? What's up?
Do y'all normal people have the internet to do that shit?
Well, you need the internet to do this stuff, No.
I mean, like I've got Google Fiber. Like I've got ridiculous internet, but like, does anybody that doesn't have like less than 3 gigs a second, like, can you guys do this shit? Like, I know I still have problems doing screen share and shit like that because I'm bottlenecked by the system itself. So I'm asking, like, for those of you without great internet access, can you even use these features?
I wouldn't know because my internet is fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm at 1 gig. I don't.
Yeah, I'm at 1 gig. So
yeah, same here.
Not to flex.
Is that even a flex though?
Like,
yeah. Like, okay.
I was saying sarcastically.
Okay, I was about to say because I'm like, that's not really a flex. I'm gonna probably sound like a fucking elitist right now. But I'm like, isn't that? No, but I'm like, I'm like, isn't that standard by now?
No, are you kidding me?
No.
That's still the high
standard.
standard.
What?
Totally.
It's like,
What, Tony, man, really?
like I think it was 20.
That's why I'm like, do I sound like an asshole right now?
You do.
Well, that's every day.
I'm like,
I think 25.
That ain't shit.
25. That
was a deep cut, Carlos.
I missed the deep cut. What happened?
Oh no, it's an inside joke between me and Brian.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, man, it's not that great everywhere. So there's still areas that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know if you live in the fucking mountains or some village or something, I guess you don't get good stuff.
But also people just don't have the money; they won't pay it. There's some people that just don't find a need for it. In fact, there's some buildings. I remember, at least in Manhattan, there were a lot of buildings that the internet service was communal. Like when you go in, it's like, oh well, you throw after $50, it's in your rent, and then we give you a Wi-Fi pass. Like, what?
I'll answer your question with this, Tony.
Yeah,
Spectrum still exists.
That's right. I take back what I said. Yeah, you're right about that, bitch ass Spectrum.
America Online still has close to 5 million subscribers.
Really?
Wait.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
America Online still exists?
Yes, it does. And
wow.
you can literally get online for $20 a month.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing, dude. Like, you got to realize that these big service providers don't go to every single town and every single space. If you have a farm in the middle of nowhere, they're not going to run fucking fiber.
Yeah. I know.
You probably have satellite. I know a lot of them have
satellite. Yeah.
Like if you,
there's a lot of there's a lot of open space in the center of the United States.
Yeah, there is.
So,
I'm not really talking about those.
You
people.
don't even.
If you live somewhere with ducks, you probably don't have good internet.
No, but not even that. Yeah. Not even that. You can just live in a bad neighborhood that they just don't provide the service because they're not going to make any money there.
There's also you can literally be in a town that is just off the grid because the cable companies don't see it as a viable place to lay fiber.
It's not bad or anything.
Fiber is fucking expensive.
Yeah, how's that internet in the Bronx? Motherfuckers don't want to go there,
Oh no, I mean in the Bronx they're probably always cutting the cable anyway. People being dickheads.
Oh man. So yeah.
Don't you know it's still the 1980s in the Bronx? The Joker's dancing on the steps and shit.
Okay.
So anyway, Brett, continue. Yeah, continue.
The reason I asked is because I want to say that the PS5 is throttled to 500 megabits max. I could be completely wrong about that, but my kind of line of thinking is, well, if it's throttled to that can't be. They're not going to be downplaying everybody's fucking internet. So that means a lot of people have to have internet speeds below that. So I guess my big question is why y'all doing features that don't seem to be able to be supported with your Wi-Fi?
Well, there's still a lot of
I don't know. I had no issues doing those shares. I remember playing.
Yeah, I never had. Yeah, but again, we have good internet. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm plugging into people with bad internet then.
You probably are. Because I've never had this.
You mean everybody on Xfinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Brett. I was going to say that. That's probably the people you're trying to connect with.
Because I've had some. Well, especially when you try and give control over to somebody for remote play. I've helped people in Elden Ring, and it has just been janky as fuck sometimes.
Yeah, but also you got to take into account that some of that could be the internet, some of that could be the shitty Sony servers.
No, I think it's specifically the Wi-Fi because when I'm plugged in, I get much better speeds. Even when I'm right next to my router, and my router is projecting fine to everything else. It's become a series of, I think there's shitty Wi-Fi in the PlayStation. And there kind of always has been. But it's really got me wondering, can a lot of because these features should be able to be supported through Wi-Fi. I mean, I feel like it's a bit of an unreasonable ask to expect an Ethernet cord dedicated to just your PlayStation, or maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you because for the last two PlayStation generations, I haven't used the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, I don't use Wi-Fi on them. I have everything wired.
Yeah, it's always been a standard with me. It's I don't trust the Wi-Fi adapters on any of these devices.
Yeah, the irony is now I have to be on Wi-Fi because wired is actually worse. For some reason, and I was talking to one of our testers in the office, and she's like, "Yeah, they probably cheaped out on the actual plug on the wall, the phone one. Apparently some buildings do. They just cheap out on it.
Wait, you plug into the wall or just directly? There's a drop in the wall. Is that what you're saying?
No, like because I'm thinking like it has to be the router, right? Because like when I plug the PlayStation and my PC, with the cable you suggested, Adam, like the connect it gets the Cat 6, yeah. Because I was like, okay, it's got to be the cable, right? Connected to the brand new cable connection is horrible, but then when I go on Wi-Fi, everything's fine. It's fucking
it could be
weird.
something wrong. Yeah. You should let them know. They could replace your box.
Yeah.
If you're using a dual modem / router box.
Yeah, I got to call them up because it even says like 10, whatever megabytes or whatever. So it's like this is weird.
That's
like
crazy.
I'm like, I'm paying for this shit.
No. That's
because I'm the same way too. I'm like, I want to keep my shit plugged in, but I'm like, keeping stuff plugged in where I am now makes the connection even worse. Which doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
But it's not old cat cables. I literally bought them brand new from Amazon, bro. Because that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, it must be the old ass cables. So I bought brand new ones, and it's the same deal. And I even bought them like 3 feet because like 6 feet or whatever. Maybe I figured maybe it would degrade the fucking signal. Just get them as short as possible. Nope.
But see that shit's unrealistic sometimes. Like I got my PC set up downstairs, and that's where my modem comes in, right? Yeah. And then I have 2 other lead points that kind of come up through the fucking walls, which leads me to 2 other jacks. And I have, just in my living room, my Xbox, my PlayStation, and my TV that I do all my streaming on. Right? And which one of those do I fucking plug it into? I can get splitter, but the signal fucking starts degrading. And even then, like, I have 3 generalized access points, and it's still just not enough to get complete. Like, what do you prioritize?
So then it could be the router, though. What frequencies does your router support?
5 gig, 2.4 and 5 gig.
Because if you can get one that does both, that it'll just hybrid, like the one
I've got dual band going on.
So that way you don't have to pick. It'll automatically combine them and boost them, so you can get at least 800 from each device.
Oh no! And that's the thing. Like I get roughly 2.5, 3 gigs. Outside of PlayStation. On PlayStation, it's generally at the top end. In practice, I think it's supposed to be 500 megabytes, but in reality, I think I've gotten to like 320. But most of the time, it goes up to 240, and then it drops down as low as 50 sometimes. Like it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, you're not gonna get, and even when you're downloading games, you're not gonna get anywhere near 500 megabits downloading anything from the PlayStation Store. That's just never.
They could be the server that they're bumping it on. Yeah, that's the other thing. They put their games on different types of servers. They'll put their older ones on some slower ones. The Xbox does it too. Some games, the newer ones, I'll go to download them, get like 700. I'll go to download an old one, and then right after doing the 700 one, it'll be like 100. Like, what the
Xbox always varied for me.
Yeah,
PlayStation's always been low for the most part.
Yeah, I've gotten up to like 800 and some change. Just shy of a gig on the Xbox. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where that part of a gig is going, but a minimum of a gig is what I expect. I'm pretty much.
Well, that could be anything in your house. Because remember,
and that's why I'm like, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. So if it's not pulling in a full gig, I understand that. But fucking Christ, when it drops down to like 78, I'm like, the fuck is going on here? I'm not living in 1997 anymore, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on here. Oh, the last thing, I threw this in for fun. Adam, Shredder's coming to Call of Duty.
Yeah, he's coming with a bundle. He's got a gun. He's got a claw thing.
He's got a
gun.
What?
He's got his own gun. Yeah. They showed all these pictures for it, and I was like, all right. No talks of Ninja Turtles coming. Just Shredder. He's got a cool looking. It's a whole operator. It's a whole thing, and it's something that you can get.
What's an operator? Explain that.
It's your character.
Oh, okay.
Your operator is a character, so they just call them operators. So that way they don't say, "Oh, I'm killing people." We're killing operators.
Question: are they planning to bring April O'Neil?
No. And then again with that, I don't know. I guess Brian, we're out of the loop. They did that years ago in the Rise, and that conversation came up back then. It was like, why'd you do this? And they were like, well, we wanted to freshen things up, and they really did, because all the turtles look different. You had a fat one, you had a tall one, you had an anorexic one. It was like, what the hell is this? You remember that one I don't like. That's Rise of the Turtles. That's still going on. They just released a Netflix movie on that one.
Every Turtle show after the 2000s ones has been fucking awful, man. Like, seriously. This one looks really fucking bad, but no comment on that, except for that previous comment. All I'm gonna say is white women had perms in the 80s. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because there's been some misconceptions going around out there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, also let's be honest. Like, not all art is 100% on point, and 80s hot was just different. All right, it was just different.
I don't
remember Kelly LeBrock and Weird Science. That bitch had a perm. You know.
Here's the thing. I don't get why anybody's getting bent out of shape every single time the Turtles get rebooted and they get switched around. Yeah. That's just the way it is. It gets revitalized. They change the Turtles. They'll new voices. They rejigger Bebop and Rocksteady. The Shredder changes around. It always happens. So
my only beef.
What makes this any difference is any of this?
People just upset.
My only beef here is what y'all got against gingers.
You know, we're not gonna get into that conversation. But yes, another one down. You know.
Dude, like it's like that. I'm not
so
even
having
that conversation. I'm just like, y'all are just straight up erasing gingers, and I don't think I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Well, they were from the devil. Remember the people from the devil? That's what gave them.
Look, just because they don't have souls doesn't mean you need to write them out of all media. All right.
But did you see the roster of people that are on here? The voice actors. I mean, Ice-T, John Cena. They got a lot of big names to do all the voices, all the characters. I was surprised by that.
Sorry, just to add to what Brett said.
No, it's a movie, but this is it's a movie that you wouldn't think.
The other
it didn't have all those big names.
The other CGI movie had Patrick Stewart in it. So what's the point? You know,
but that's the Rise of the Turtles. That was the most recent.
No, it was not the Rise of the Turtles.
The TMNT movie.
Oh yeah, but that was a big budget film. This is an animated movie.
Well,
just
it's
like the other
still
one.
a big budget animated movie.
But they didn't do.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. They didn't do this with the Rise one, and that was a big budget.
Not talking
well,
about
we're not talking about Rise.
Talking about the other CGI movie they did.
Yeah.
What the most recent one was the Rise one that came out a few months back.
There was another CGI movie before that live action one. And
the one before that was Batman versus TMNT.
No, it wasn't. We're talking about way before that.
You're talking way back when Michael Bay.
We're talking about 20.
No,
he's
before
talking
that.
He's talking about the animated cartoon movie that came out in like 2010-ish around.
The 2006 one?
2010.
2000. It was around that time, right, Manny? Right,
like 2010, 2009. Yeah.
Are we successfully demonstrating the problem with all these reboots accurately here?
I think.
Those weren't reboots. Those weren't reboots. Those weren't reboots.
It was that
it
one.
Just,
it was
a
reboot, movie.
Yeah.
They didn't do the same story of like, oh, this is how they turned into turtles. They went to Japan and they had this whole big fight with samurais and stuff.
That movie was sort of they even at the time they said it was taking place in a different universe than the show that was going on at the time, and it supposedly went closer to whatever the other movies were, but it really wasn't. So it was them loosely trying to soft reboot whatever the franchise was on at least film versions. So every 7 to 10 years, Turtles gets rebooted.
It was just called, by the way, 2007, it was just called TMNT.
TMNT.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. There you go.
But that wasn't the most recent one. That's what I'm saying. It's like the most recent one didn't have the big names.
They still had big names in that one.
Yeah.
Well, the movies had big names also.
Yeah, and
look, there's not a time that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hasn't been rebooted that it hasn't attracted some serious star power because it's been such a big franchise for so long. Like,
yeah, whenever the movie, like obviously the movies come along,
Yeah, Adam, it's called TMNT. Yeah, it had Chris.
Yeah, no, I know that one. That's the older one. I'm just saying. I'll bring it up. What I'm saying. I don't think you're getting it.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm saying.
They did two. All right, so for the longest time, they were hyping two big movies. Two big movies have been talked about. The Seth one, which is the one that we just saw. That's the mutant one's Mayhem. And then there was the Rise, making their full-length movie. And that was what they were hyping.
That wasn't released in the movies. That was
a Netflix movie. That was the one that they were hyping, and that's what I'm saying. That one didn't have any big name, but they were really hyping it because they were like, "Oh yeah, we spent all this money. This is going to be a big movie. It's going off of the newest animated cartoon." But no one watches it, at least that I know.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
no,
anything, okay.
Oh, I was just comparing it because that was the one directly prior to this Seth Rogen
that's
one.
it.
Yeah, but that one didn't have anybody in it because it was just a TV movie.
Well,
It
it's
wasn't gonna be
Netflix.
released on
Netflix, I mean, they have Glass Onion.
I mean,
They put money into things that
they're,
it's not garbage.
listen, what that movie was essentially something. What it really was probably, Nickelodeon was just going to dump it, and Netflix said, we'll take it. That's what was really going to happen because that show was going to already get canceled anyway. They were supposed to get another season, and that show
just looked awful. I'll be honest, like this one doesn't look much better. But
I will say this: I appreciate the differences to it because I can understand how just repeating the same old things over and over and over again. So it's like, hey, they tried something, but you know what? They rebooted it again. So nothing to get pissed off about.
Well, now we got Zeus and Orion. We got all the new ones from the Ronin ones. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm excited for those 4. But we'll see. Because they got the toys already coming for them, and I'm sure a TV show isn't far behind.
They're probably not going to do the last Ronin movie. I don't think they're going to ever do that. That's too dark for the public franchise.
Would you guys be interested in seeing one where they were not teenage anymore, like a direct sequel to the 90s
like the last
ones?
Ronin, right?
Well, that's what Last Ronin was supposed to be. It's essentially
in the future.
It's in the future.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm going to check that shit out.
But the new one is that there was goo and April tried to grow her own new turtles because all of them are dead, and so we get 4 more. And then they just released what those look like, and they're going to have their own comic series. Those 4.
Yeah, it's essentially Eastman sort of coming. We're totally going off of video games, but it's Eastman essentially continuing the story that they were going to go with. So,
that's cool.
It looks cool.
I want to see that shit more than I want to see reinterpretations. Like, the only thing that gets me about this one is that they're like, we're going to do something different with April O'Neil that nobody's done before, especially not the one that just came out. Like, it's like how Marvel keeps coming out and saying, like, this is our first strong female lead. Like, this is like the 5th time you guys have said that. It doesn't make sense anymore. But like it's instead of trying to reimagine the Turtles, I do appreciate the approach of like, here's an idea, have some new ones. I mean, God knows the universe, like the ooze is a thing. It mutates things. We know this. Like, there's no shortage of shit that's been mutated. Fucking roll with it. Whatever.
Yeah, my thing is, and I learned this from TMNT. This franchise, except for the video games, no longer for me, and that's okay.
Dude, here's the problem.
You know why the video games are for you? Because they're doing the same games that came out like 30 years ago.
Yep,
so they're not even innovating. They're just clinging on your nostalgia.
Yeah. So let the new generation have their turtles. Whatever. They ain't for me.
The problem is they didn't give it the Miles Morales treatment.
Which is
how do you know?
You haven't watched it yet. But I mean, like,
I don't understand what this means. What do you mean?
Okay, the thing that I think is so great about Miles Morales is that you can love Miles Morales and love Peter Parker. It wasn't a thing that was necessarily trying to crowd anybody out, and it kind of went really well with the Spider-Man theme and the Spider-Man IP. Like it eventually turned into, you like Peter Parker? Still have Peter Parker. But if you want something that's kind of along the same lines but kind of reimagined, you have Miles Morales. I like the alternate universe kind of thing where they can kind of branch off and instead of completely trying to reimagine it every time, try new ideas as a kind of a spin-off. And if they float, they float.
I mean, it's not officially a new idea. The only reason why it ended up being a new idea with Miles Morales is the fact that they killed off Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe, and he was allowed to be the Spider-Man and earn his way as his own Spider-Man. I mean, that's the biggest issue with Spider-Verse. As much as I like that movie, he doesn't have anything that's his own. And even in the sequel that's coming up, it's nothing that belongs to him. He's inheriting all of this other junk. which
I
is
was
the
even gonna
problem
say,
with
like,
the Spider-Man movies. But
I-
anyway,
I
whatever.
love-
We need to end this show. We're already going off the road here. So,
Hey, Manny doesn't
Tony,
want to- yeah. Oh yeah, we are.
Tony,
We're
close
done.
us out.
I mean, and, you know, it was good because we already kind of ended things, so it's all right to let it go a little bit longer. Even though we didn't go longer, we went just on times, which is perfect. You know.
Perfect.
Yeah, and Miles Morales. You know what? I'm not going to get into that. All right. So, Adam, last episode of Last of Us is coming up, isn't it? For the season.
this is
Last
it.
episode of Last of Us.
Last episode. Episode 9. So, yep. Myself, Rich Bailey Jr., Carlos, been covering it over at the Coalition Gaming channel. So, if you want to see what we had to say, we do a lot of comparisons to how it plays out, especially compared to the game, and just having fun with it because we enjoyed this game. It was one of the best ones of when it comes to these type of this genre, and I'm looking forward to it. It was good so far, so good. Not great the last 2 episodes, a little falling short on the whole clickers and stuff. It's more of a drama, and that's fine. But we'd like to see a little more action in regards to that. So hopefully the balls to the wall for the last episode.
This is it.
I keep thinking of Peacemaker. Remember the last episode of Peacemaker? They just do everything. Everything happened. Special effects, big fight. That's what I'm hoping to see.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're done here, people. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations, the rumors always happen. You could join us on Discord on your PC, on your phone, or on PlayStation now, which is pretty interesting. Womp, womp, womp. We are also available on every podcast app on the planet. Search for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words. Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
It is simple, Brett. They are replacing people without a soul with people with soul.
Damn.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. All right, people, we'll see you on Sunday. Later.
Peace.
Latest.
Laters.